Everybody go and get your tinfoil cap. Hazmat suits for the losers. In the back it goes gas mask, gas mask, gas mask, gas. Hazmat suits for the losers in the back.
Yo, it's time to get politic with the whiz kid. Folks who stay holistic, mostly full of shit. But let's be heuristic, victims of the grift. And me, I'm not a hero, but you know the shoe fits. Everybody go and get your tinfoil cap. Hazmat suits for the losers in the back. It goes gas mask, gas mask, gas mask, gas. Hazmat suits for the losers in the.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to, excuse me, the second installment of Council of the Wastes podcast, where we are here to talk to you about the second episode of the second season of our favorite thing ever, which is Fallout. This episode is called The Golden Rule. And we all know what the Golden Rule is, right? Because we remember Lucy yelling it out.
We thought we knew.
The wasteland at every turn.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. No. The Golden Rule is treat others like you want to be treated yourself, or some such thing. So
Pretty much.
pretty much. So
Second guess.
I thought it was thou shalt always get sidetracked with bull shrimp.
Bullshit.
I think that was the
Has its own
first
golden
rule of
rule.
the wasteland.
That
Yeah.
The first rule. The second rule is the Golden Rule. All right, so let's if this is your first time listening, we'll just talk a little bit about each of ourselves and about our channels, because we are all YouTubers. And let's go around the room. Ram, why don't you start us off?
Oh, okay. My name is Rameth Zero. I am the host of Rameth Zero Gaming on YouTube. I'm a variety gaming streamer that sticks to open world exploration, survival roleplay games with deep lore and character building, primarily in the post-apocalyptic, dystopian, and horror genres.
Spooky. Okay, Bubbles.
My name's Bubbles. I am the host of Bubblonia Rising. And like Ram, I like the post-apocalypse, but I mostly stick to Bethesda games. I like RPGs. I like character building, and I like what I call light role-playing, fun interactions with the environment and the world based on the character that I play. And I try to keep it light and Bethesda-focused on modding.
Nice. All right, GP.
Hi, yeah, I'm GP from the Gameplan site or a channel that's pretty much focused on Bethesda games. I'm pretty hung up on them. I've been stuck on them this whole time. Fallout, Starfield, stuff like that, and it's just too much fun. So
One day soon we'll get you playing Skyrim. Don't
You
worry.
know, you might talk me into it. You got me here, so anything's possible.
Dom doesn't like Skyrim, but he'll come and he'll watch me play Skyrim. So
I will.
I guess that's all that matters. Go ahead, Dom. Tell us about you and Kathy.
Well, we are probably pretty well known on this channel as your entire notorious FAM. Yeah. And we've podcasted. We've obviously done live streams for all kinds of pro wrestling events, and I'm actually honored to be sharing the screen with this man tonight, because this man is the one that got me streaming Fallout 4 and Doom and everything else. I'm sitting in his chat and he just kept browbeating me about, I need to be doing this and I need to be doing this. And from that, Notorious Gaming was born. And so now we have this happy, fun channel where Kathy and I come on and we play Fallout 4, we play Doom, we cover Monday Night Raw, and Raw Dogging with Dom and Friends with Benefits. And, even tomorrow we will be welcoming in the new year with you fine folks. So we're a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of couple.
Nice. Well, thanks, GP, for getting that all started.
Here.
Should I accept credit or blame?
One of us.
Yes.
And so I forgot to say anything about myself. My name is Ravenswift. I have a channel on YouTube called Ravenswift, and I think it's Raven_Swift actually. And I stream Bethesda games. I love streaming Fallout and Skyrim And one day soon, hopefully, I will also love streaming Starfield if I can get my stupid computer to work. Anyway, so yeah, that's who we are.
Not to mention best SS2 plots and voice on YouTube. I'm just
thanks. Thanks. I also design plots for Sim Settlements too, and people tell me that they like the way my voice sounds. So I guess there's that too. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, let's talk about this episode, season 2, episode 2, the Golden Rule. We changing up the format a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of start talking about the episode, and then you guys are all just gonna jump in. So here we go. The episode begins with a flashback to Shady Sands before the bomb. Maximus's father has cracked the code to getting rad-free water, and things are looking pretty idyllic until a bomb is delivered by someone under the influence of a mind control unit. Max is saved by hiding in the fridge, while seemingly the rest of the town perishes. We see a young Hank wash his hands of the situation, literally, and then we later see him in present day working hard to perfect the mind control units at Vault-Tec HQ. So yeah, guys, any thoughts?
Well, I think I could speak for the group when I say the entire scene period from the minute the bomb is revealed on just kind of screams
emotional, damn it.
I'm pretty sure you guys would agree. I'm sitting there going, oh my god, don't do this to me, Jesus.
You're gonna make us live this trauma,
right? Like, and go back to episode 1. You know how I said it's much more impactful to see Cooper's story play out like the moment his heart breaks than to have him just sitting around and talking about it. You heard Maximus tell this story in bits here and there in season 1. You got little blips, but once the whole thing comes out, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rolling up.
So I've got a theory that I'm going to run by you guys, but I haven't heard it anywhere. And I mean, cards on the table. I watched a few of these, like what you didn't see in episode 2 kind of things, you know, like we all do.
So you cheated is what you said.
Well, you know, like, I don't agree with about half of what I hear. Like about half of what these people propose in their videos, I'm actually not down with. But one thing I haven't heard anybody talk about is I think that we watched Maximus's dad be the domino that got Shady Sands bombed when he had that water that had no rads in it. Because if you remember, the story was that Lucy's mom started to investigate a problem where water from vaults 31, 32, and 33 was just disappearing. And then she found out there was a settlement on the surface that was siphoning water off, and that it was further along than any of them thought. When she went to investigate and left the vault, that kicked off Hank's jealous, I don't know, genocidal rage, I guess. And I think when Maximus's dad is pulling the water out of his new super duper great well, that's us seeing him be the catalyst for so many things.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think you're right.
I didn't even think of it.
I'm glad you caught that, because I was going to bring something like that up.
Yeah.
Right. No, that is
I didn't put 2 and 2 together there.
That is a very sound theory. Like,
see, there we go. I
thought
done. It's been great, everybody. Thanks for inviting me here.
My work here is done.
That's right.
All right, I'm out.
Better than this.
He just comes in with a bomb, man.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I did notice that the water purifier he was using was right out of Fallout 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and 76, but it was definitely one of the models. I think it was the middle model of the water purifiers that you can do. In the basement.
Yeah, that caught my attention.
Great attention to detail.
Because the first time I watched it, I was like, why is he raving that he's got a water purifier when we knew that we had them in Appalachia? Why is this suddenly so important? And then that's where I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, what is this going on here? And that's when, like what GP was saying, I was like, oh, And like that was going to be my big gotcha moment in the podcast.
Whoopsie.
Well,
that's fine. That's
the
fine.
game plan stole your thunder, but yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely was a water purifier from Fallout 4,
Mhm.
and it most certainly was the same. I think it's B12 bomb that Liberty Prime uses in
Mark
Fallout 3.
28.
It looked very
Mark
similar.
28. Yeah.
Mark 28.
Uh-huh.
And then you have to go and find in Fallout 4 its Sentinel
Mhm.
site if you decide you're going to go down the Brotherhood path and the whole nine,
Yeah.
which I thought was a cool touch too.
I think it was definitely hot rodded, but it was a Mark 28 model for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to have a much bigger explosion than the ones that Prime was throwing around. You know,
And when they
Definitely.
give you that assignment in Fallout 4, Ingram talks about how many of them there should be around. They're like, we thought we'd find them all over the place, but somehow they're just hard to find. We can't figure out
Right.
why. So maybe it wasn't that big a deal for Hank to find one of those. You know,
Yeah.
they sound like the
Mhm.
kind the planes would have dropped that would have been it. You know, they weren't that special apparently, but
Is it the same kind of bomb that you find in Megaton?
no,
that one looks way bigger.
that one's bigger.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
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 And I think the one that hit Megaton is not one of our own. I think that was one of the ones that got dropped by the Reds.
The commies.
You know,
And it just didn't go
Otherwise-
off.
Yeah,
You know, the
yeah.
ones they were
Was it-
making in Vault 24, those commies.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that theory yet. I'm not.
No, I would have to have a
it's
tinfoil hat
mentioned-
myself.
my tinfoil hat is not
It's
ready for
mentioned
that
in
one.
Fallout 4 if you're aboard the Yonxa, he talks about that he was the sub captain that delivered a payload to the coast.
Yeah.
Right. Those would have been missiles though, not
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Yeah.
those type of bombs.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
Right.
In theory. So
Yeah, exactly. But it was so tragically terrifying. It was such a tragically terrifying way to bring in the famous line from Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the
Honestly,
top of
when I-
my show notes. The
When I heard
very,
it the
very
first
top.
time, when I heard it the first time, I started giggling because it just they did it. They finally brought it in.
You
You
know-
know, everybody says it. They finally said it.
Right.
And then when it all came out, I was like, "Oh, I didn't laugh at that. No, I didn't laugh at that at all. This is serious.
wasn't
I was
funny.
not laughing."
Right. It
I
was
giggled
really,
like a 5-year-old.
it was really well done. I mean, what a great juxtaposition between an inside joke and a horrifying, like, you know,
Yeah.
moment. So,
Yeah.
and they didn't
It was
explain it or
ominous.
anything, which thank God, because that
Right.
would be awful. You know.
I'm just glad we don't watch this show live because I would have so much apologizing to do. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. How could I have known?
But that whole juxtaposition, that's Fallout's shtick, right? Like that's their whole deal is
Yep.
taking the gravity of the apocalypse and making it a tongue-in-cheek joke, like
Yeah.
100% of the time. So
And
I agree.
I think so much of the dynamics of this episode and really all the other ones, but is about like looking at two sort of inverse mirror versions of the same thing right next to each other, and it's all this contrast, it's all this irony. You know, they got a way with it. Kind of like I'm getting ahead of us, but I think everybody knows this example, so I'll use it. The way when Lucy and the ghoul are traveling together, we have such a flip. He's always saying, "I'm you, just give it time." You know,
Yeah.
and we do
Yeah.
see that here they're on a really similar journey to find family that maybe nefarious family, right? Maybe bad guy vault employee family, but they're on their journey to find family together. And then I think he's attempting to move toward his lost humanity because he knows too much. And then I think Lucy is attempting, Lucy doesn't know enough, but she's got plenty of empathy and humanity, and she's attempting to move towards what's the word? Just a wiser
A better
place.
survivor.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I think everything about the
Temperance, I think,
series
is
is
what she's looking
always
for.
doing that.
or
Always showing
pragmatic.
us two inverted things, like
Yeah.
ramming right up against each other. And
And this
it's
kind of
make
brings
that
us
irony.
to
She's trying to learn when to say "fuck it."
yeah. Well, and this brings us kind of to what Bubbles had asked us all to think about, and I thought it was a really good thought exercise for sure. Bubbles, do you remember what you asked us?
I actually don't. Offhand. Are
Okay.
you talking about in
it
the
was-
Discord chat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was about
Yeah, Bubbles
potential
asked us-
character arcs of where
Yeah.
we thought people were going.
Yeah. If season 2
Yeah.
is a road trip movie, what is the arc of our three main characters? How will
right.
Lucy
Yeah.
grow up or transcend her father in Vault-Tec? And how will the ghoul reclaim his humanity, or will he go deeper into the monster first?
Yeah.
And
Well,
I had
go
this
ahead.
thought like last episode as well. I was like, I think we're really going to see a flip of perspectives there for sure. I think like what GP was just saying, I think Lucy, we're going to see her become a lot more like
Gritty.
pragmatic and like a lot harder and a lot more resilient. Not that she's not resilient, but a little bit more less naive, I guess. Less
Yeah.
naive.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
Yeah.
I think we'll see
That
the
arc kind of
ghoul.
writes itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, when Bubbles asked the question, her and I were sitting here and talking
Mhm.
about it, and we came to the same conclusion. Was like, it's hard to predict their arcs right now because with Lucy and the ghoul, they
Mhm.
are so damn stubborn and so high and mighty on opposite sides of the
Their
fence.
their
Mhm.
egos clash.
They just
Mhm.
impede
I
each
think that's
other's
why they're paired
progress
together like that.
because
Mhm.
each one of them needs to be right. Like there is
Mhm.
no compromise. It's you know, it's take the shot, don't reason with them. Well, I'm going to reason with them anyway. I don't care if it gets us killed.
Right.
You know, and we see this play out later on in the episode. I know I'm getting it again. I'm kind of getting ahead of it too, but it's very hard for those two especially to progress because there's more conflict between the two of them than there is any type of compromise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Well-
until that, you can't get much of an arc because they're just kind of stuck in the same spot.
Yeah. I think that Lucy's had her canon incident. We haven't seen it play out yet, but she's had it. Her moment where she's going to become a lot more pragmatic. Maybe not careful in the sense that you and I would become careful. We live in a relatively complete world still, you know, in spite of everything.
Stable.
A stable world. But I think she, when she is being surrounded by the Legion, and she's like, I just want you guys to know I'm nice. This is the very beginning of a scene that will be her canon arc changer, you know, because these people are definitely not nice.
Yeah, she hasn't run
And
into
we're
anybody
kind of
like
on a
Legion yet.
counter too. Like, how many more episodes are going to be left in the season? So there's got to be some evolution of that.
As
Six.
far, I was going to say, as far as I know, we have 6.
6 more after this.
So we're about 25%
Tomorrow is
of the way
the
through.
third, and there's 8. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ground to cover.
Mhm.
How do you guys even know that though? Like, do we know? Like, we don't know what's going to happen this
It's
season.
a safe assumption at this point, isn't it?
Well, it's also, I watch all the industry stuff too, because I was in media and journalism professionally for many, many years. So I've seen tons of interviews with cast members from all over the world, Australia, London, whatever. I've heard them talk about the road trip arc between the characters. They don't give away any story spoilers, but this is the message they're communicating to the audience since 5 weeks ago, is that this is a post-apocalyptic road trip, and Lucy's becoming more like the ghoul, and the ghoul's becoming more like Lucy, and somewhere in the middle, maybe they'll meet, and who knows how it's all going to turn out. So, and as far as the 8 episodes go, that was announced on all the Amazon promotional material.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I thought. But and I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying there will never be a character progression. I'm saying from what we've seen in this season so far, it feels like Lucy and the ghoul are more worried about getting their way than getting anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
And that should change as we go along. But as of right now, it's very hard for them to see the, you know, you can predict like, oh yeah, eventually they'll become more like each other. They'll kind of compromise and things will get easier. But one of them would have to admit they were fucking wrong, which they never do.
Maybe, or maybe they'll never admit it, but we'll just see it because good storytelling is showing us, not telling us anyway.
Maybe the actions will speak louder than the words. Yeah.
Even after the incident with the cons, Lucy is still defending her position and Cooper is still fighting his.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing to learn because neither one of you are listening. You're just running your mouth. At least we listen to one another because we're actually going back and forth of what each other says. That's something that those two have not done to this point.
But I think they will. I think they'll have to.
And then
if they want to see any sort of evolution with their characters, like and that's good storytelling, right? They got to
Right.
be going somewhere.
If they want to hold on to their audience too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Speaking
Sure, yeah.
very pragmatically,
Yeah.
no one's going to watch. No one's going to be excited for season 3 if the characters start off and end in the same
In the
exact
exact same spot. Right.
Right.
Right. Oh no, and to the show's credit, they have told some amazing stories.
Yeah, they really
Amazing
have.
stories through the first season, and then these
Mhm.
2 episodes. It's just right now it's harder to see anything happening. But with Maximus, I think it's becoming more and more clear that like he's basically in the Brotherhood because he has no other place to go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the
Well-
ultimate
That
the
need for
ultimate
family.
that need to basically, like he said, hurt the people that hurt him, having a suit of power armor and a really ugly assault rifle and a bunch of guys in power armor with those same ugly assault rifles is the perfect way to hurt someone. But
Mhm.
I feel like as soon as he sees enough, he will leave the Brotherhood of Steel, and
Mhm.
from there, God knows. Like,
Okay.
I
Well,
have
this
a lot
kind
of I have a lot of notes on that.
Okay, well, this
particular
kind of
thing.
brings us to the next segment here that we're going to talk about, and
Mhm.
that's learning what Maximus has been up to with the Brotherhood over the past, I don't know, couple of months. You think from since the end of season 1 to the beginning of
Mhm.
season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out what Quintus is up to. He's powered up a warehouse of resources, and he promises the fractured BOS leaders, Brotherhood leaders, that he's gathered around him, endless fusion cores if they unite with him against the Commonwealth Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Maximus is seen in the show exhibiting his superiority by winning a fight against another Brotherhood soldier, and everyone but Dane looks really, really impressed by that, which kind of made me a little sick to my stomach, but whatever. Like the fact that everyone looked impressed by him kicking the shit and then stabbing this guy to death. Anyways, so Quintus obviously was impressed with him because he thought, yes, this is the person I want representing my Brotherhood. And the squires loved it because they're looking up to Maximus. And then Paladin Harkness, who we all meet at the end of the episode, even gives him a little like nod and says, yeah, good job. Like without even actually saying anything, but the look that he gave. So yeah, like what
There was some subtext for sure.
for sure. So
yeah,
what
I read that as you do that? Okay.
sweet
Yeah.
death move, bro.
Yeah. Not so much
That's
good
how I
job,
read
but
it.
like, was that your work? Is that you did that?
So you don't think he was impressed?
He knight, by the
Bubba?
way. Well, I think
Oh,
he's
he was
impressed as I don't think he's like, ooh, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I think it's more like, I'm clocking you as an impressive character, maybe. You're someone I want to keep my eye on. That's kind of impressive. But I think Harkness is Knight Harkness, by the way. I think it's Knight, not
Paladin.
Oh,
Is it
He was
Paladin?
he introduced
He's
himself
got
as
the
Paladin.
battle code.
Yeah, he
Well,
said
I thought
Paladin
he
Harkness.
identified as Knight, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he jumped off that vertibird and said Paladin Harkness, and I was
Yeah, I thought so.
All right.
I don't know. He
fair
had
enough.
me thinking real hard about, where
Yeah.
he was from, really, because
Yeah.
Rivet City, maybe.
right. We've heard of the name
That's a
Harkness.
predominant theory. Yeah.
He's a goddamn synth.
He's from the Commonwealth, all right, but not the Brotherhood. Now, honestly, we could really be barking up the wrong tree with all that, though.
Of course, and it could be a red
Yeah.
herring. But
Yeah.
the entire Brotherhood from the Commonwealth is from Rivet City. They stole the generator from Rivet City to power the Pridwin. So it makes sense that there would be people joining them after they did that, because if there were fighters, if they were fighting men, why wouldn't you? There's
Absolutely.
not anything left of Rivet City once they take the generator.
And even if you look at the story of Fallout 3, like Arthur Maxon was there with the Capital Wasteland Brotherhood as a child that came from.
They show him.
eventually overtook one of the lions, depending on who you believe was in charge, and he took the Brotherhood to the Commonwealth. Well, why wouldn't he recruit Harkness? Because at that point, he wouldn't know what a synth was.
right.
Let alone that Harkness was one, because he was
Right.
pretty much the first one you're introduced as like a teaser to Fallout 4 in Fallout 3.
Mhm.
Well, not only that,
And-
prototype sent too. Prototype Gen 3.
Exactly.
So he's
If-
not
if
even
they
listed
are-
in their database as one of the scents like Dance was. He's not in that. It's
Exactly.
Speaking of
those
which,
are
oh, sorry. If I was a writer and I wanted to do a nod to Dance, to the whole blind betrayal part of Fallout 4, and I wanted to do it a little bit obliquely, then I could have like a version of it play out here in the series by bringing Harkness in as part of the Brotherhood. And here I've got a Dance-like scenario potentially that I could use however I want, but I'll know the fans know the dog whistle I'm blowing was something like that, which I think is pretty clever of them.
Yeah, going back to story arcs. Could you imagine if like the whole Civil War ends because they find out the representative of the Commonwealth is actually a synth?
Yeah,
why not?
right.
That's the shortest
Will
Civil
they
War
unite
in
against the
history.
Institute.
I
or
have a
something?
theory about that. Something I'm
Right.
trying to work out.
I think that with the scent thing, people want cleanness, right? They want this clean kind of, well, the Brotherhood, hoard technology so they can preserve it so that mankind can survive in the future. And so them acting like jackasses and blowing up a car, juggling and playing hacky sack with a plasma grenade doesn't fit the lore, bro. And it's like, I think a lot of times what people don't realize is that the real world is a lot more messy than these lines. Like, who won? Who's the final victor? The Institute still projects power and their technology into a post-ending scenario of Fallout 4, regardless of who wins, because there are dozens, if not hundreds, of synths roaming around the Commonwealth, some of which don't know their synths, some of which
Or
are
just
being
former
smuggled out.
Institute scientists too. I mean, they didn't all die.
Right. And to your point, Bubbles, even people that go back to the lore of the Brotherhood, when you look at these factions, these are factions that we've never seen from the Brotherhood. This is not San Francisco. This is not Hidden Valley. This is not Coronado. This is different chapters of the Brotherhood that have never been seen until the series was actually started.
Yeah,
you can say retcon, but nobody can prove that these chapters didn't exist. It's
even the word retcon is kind of goofy in that scenario. It's been 15 years since Fallout 4, or since the events of New Vegas, 14 years.
Right.
It's been, 4 or 5 years since the events of Fallout 4. What the unimaginable amount of shit that happens in all of our lives just in a year, let alone 4 or 5 years, it flies in the face of this argument that I want to see it stick to the lore. Well, what does that even mean when right down the street, the store that you've been going to for the last 2 years is going to be another store with a totally new building in 18 months.
Right.
And that's in our world, let alone in the wasteland where things are constantly turning over and
I think the
powers
writers
constantly.
bought themselves plenty of room to do what they're doing. I think they did.
And I've
It's a wise move
I've seen that backlash over and over from people like, oh, the Brotherhood lore. And if you are discrediting the show over lore of Brotherhood groups that never existed, I can only think of one thing to say.
How about new?
Exactly.
Yeah, agreed.
As a writer, you need to give yourself wiggle room to play in the margins.
Yeah, but that whole BOS acting like idiots, the two guys like deciding to play hacky sack with a grenade,
the two
for the
Chads
second
who are
time
trying
in
to
the same
figure out-
episode. It's why Maximus is having the existential crisis he's having in part is because he knows he can't trust the rank and file of the Brotherhood to get this right. He wants, well, okay, I'll back it up a little, and I'm gonna bogart the mic just a bit. I'm sorry for that, but
do it, GP, do it.
The beginning of the episode, we meet Maximus's dad, and he has this edict. He tells Maximus, "Leave it a little better than we found it. You're going to be a good man, right?" And then we see Maximus be able to accept Lucy pretty fast compared to most Wastelanders who've had a rough time, and he has. And it's because of his Shady Sands background that Lucy makes some sense to him. He doesn't completely mistrust her way of seeing things because of that wholesomeness in his background. And then when he is Knight Maximus in episode 2, we watch him interact with his squire the way his dad interacted with him. He has the same kind of advice. He has that same kind of nurturing quality. We see what he wants the Brotherhood to be like. He wants it to be like the way he treats and tries to like educate his squire. But then he looks around him, and of course they're, you know, the Brotherhood took what it could get, and everybody is, you know, it's just ignorance. That's the problem. The Brotherhood is full of ignorance, like it would be. There's no education program out
they
there.
recruit out of the wasteland.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not like the original group. The original group were officers and military people,
right?
You know, with a structure and a discipline. Now it's just like, well,
right.
Here's what we got.
We know why too, because of Fallout New Vegas. When you meet the Brotherhood in that same region in Fallout New Vegas, they're a like a ragtag bunch who have been defeated at Helios 1. They're hiding in bunkers a lot like the Area 51 that gets revealed in this episode. You know,
I had
right down to
Hidden Valley vibes when that
the
happened.
fake storms and the, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, like there they are, like hiding, and they're this little remnant. Of course, that says that, you know, whatever Brotherhood we're seeing now is just, it's been trying to put itself back together from whatever scraps it can get, you know, and.
Which is
the
exactly
way that
what
the
they were
different
against, which was why they were hiding in the first place.
Right.
Because the Elder refused to take recruits from the outside.
They say it in the show too. We're all from different cultures. We have different ways of. We don't go in for that religious crap. We call women the C word and won't let them even serve with us. You know, the other one honestly seemed like a very low IQ wastelander who had been elevated to the position of. He had like some kind of weird, you know, replacement for his skull here, and
he's definitely
he had like the Ryujin thing like stuck on his.
Yeah, there was something. I think Kathy nailed it. It was like they took part of a license plate and they welded it into his head because he had a hole that wouldn't close up. You know?
But, you know, I appreciated his inclusion because that guy would exist. He would.
Yes. Absolutely. I thought he was great.
Guy out, it'd be like, well, this show's pretending this guy wouldn't be at this table. He would.
He would.
Yeah, he'd be there.
And the drinking and the fighting. You know, I think that's all there.
Everybody at that table, and as you looked at them, you could just think to yourself, "That's so Fallout."
Yeah.
Well, what's the most interesting aspect to me was who's not there. So we don't see anybody from Hidden Valley.
Right.
Or Texas.
We don't see anybody from Texas. We don't see anybody from Chicago. We don't see anybody from Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, this is
not
just
there.
The Southwest, but minus Texas. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe it's that they weren't invited, like the Commonwealth supposedly wasn't invited, or maybe it's that these are the last ones standing, which would point to even more degeneration over time because groups of them are going underground and waiting it out and dying off or whatever. So,
yeah.
I mean, as far as we know, that's what happened to Hidden Valley.
Yeah.
Because they refused. And if you refuse and you don't have anybody that can make any more little Brotherhood Knights, then, well, you know, you eventually just get old and die.
Sure.
Or you become weak enough to be taken out, one or the other.
It's a lot like the Enclave in that people want to grasp onto the faction that they think is the coolest. And they want that faction to stay crystal in their mind, the way it was in their
fire bottom of this game.
You know, and that's so they're like the Brotherhood or the cool, smart guys who wear power armor and rock plasma weapons, and they know what they're doing, and lasers, and they have airships. And yeah, in that game that you like, that chapter did some of those things.
Yeah, that particular chapter only.
It doesn't say anything about the other chapters.
Exactly.
I think that's the part that people. And then they jump to that word retcon, which always just makes me shake my damn head. It's like, do you even know what that word means? Like, we're not going back and going, oh, by the way, during the events of Fallout 4, it was Sarah Lyons in charge of the Brotherhood of Steel in the Commonwealth fighting the S2. That's a fucking retcon.
Right.
You know,
I swear when you ask the question, do you even know what that word means? I think we all know what the real answer is.
Oh my god.
We all know.
Just give him a reason. He's got 1,000 of them.
Oh, I do. I got clips and clips and clips on the side, man.
on the button.
He's got it in his pocket. He'll just pull that thing out like a gunslinger.
But yeah, I personally I think it's cool to see the other side of the Brotherhood, and I definitely picked up the vibes where Maximus is sitting here and he's watching them basically find a Zayton for the first time and then rip him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, ice chips, bro!
That was
Like,
awesome.
that was hilarious, but that's so Neanderthal. And then you've got the beautiful Chrysler or Ford T-Bird or whatever you want to call it that they find, and they roll it outside and light it up with a friggin' minigun.
Yeah, when they said, "Let's see what this baby can
They
do,"
have
you
cold
know,
fusion. They don't need anything out of that car.
Shortly after that, during a meeting of all the Brotherhood elders, you got two Chads tossing a freaking plasma grenade around to see which one's more giga. It's like if I'm
It's a bad sign.
If I'm Maximus, I'm just taking that grenade and swallowing it at that point because I've had enough. Like, you know what?
He can't trust. He knows he has to be there. He knows that if he's not trying to guide the Brotherhood towards something good, it won't go that way.
It won't go good.
No.
Because of all the Neanderthals.
I think that you're right, but I think it's more telling when he's having the conversation with, I guess he's a scribe now or a squire, the guy that from
Dane?
season 1, Dane.
Dane.
And
Squire
he brings Lucy up, and the first thing Maximus gets this scowl on his face and he goes, "She left."
Yeah, I was confused at first.
I
about
think
all
that's
that.
more of the reason that he's there than anything to do with the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Well, he woke up in the conservatory at the end of season 1, and I think he must have thought when she ran off with the ghoul, it meant she bailed on their whole agreement to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I had never considered that, and I had to like think about that for a second and be like, wait a second, why would Maximus lose hope on Lucy already? Like, because Dane is the one that kind of reminds him, like, you met that girl out there, like, remember, like, you got to hold on to that. And so yeah, I was a little confused, but then I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, no, he does definitely think that she just abandoned him and moved on with her life and her quest, I guess. And,
His arc is really cool.
Yeah.
In season 1 was I want to hurt the people that hurt me. And in season 2, his arc is I want to leave the world a little bit better than I want to leave the Brotherhood a little bit better than I found it.
And it was.
So it's cool that he is growing, and around him are people that are not growing, and some are machinating, Quintus, some of the leaders, they're up to no good, right?
Yep.
And there are knights that are competent. There are rising squires and scribes who have some level of competence and accountability.
We assume. We didn't see a lot of it, but we assume.
Not everybody is shooting up Chrysler.
Not everybody is
looking at ice chips.
Exactly. So
ignoring the Ark of the Covenant sitting right behind them.
Yeah.
To be honest, what would that mean to you as a wastelander?
Yeah, nothing.
What would that mean to you as a wastelander? Nothing. It looked like
I don't know,
old
but
shit.
to me, it just felt
unless
like
you had some
and it
old
is.
world blues.
I mean, if you think about it, it is just old stuff now. That is what it is.
Well, yeah, so to them it is, but to us, me watching it, I'm just like, oh god, the series took the Wild Wasteland perk. This is great.
It was there for the same reason that's at the end of the first Indiana Jones movie too, with the panning out of the warehouse and all the crap that's just being stored there because they don't know what else. We got it, and no one else can have it, and so we're putting it here, along with the Zetan ship that's covered by a tarp and the Zetan in a freezer.
I think I even saw like the Zayton shock baton.
Yep.
At one point. Scribe was
did.
playing with it in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And
this all
Maximus surviving in a fridge. It's another one of those nods to the Indiana Jones thing, that they put
And
in
to
early.
Billy. We love you,
And
Billy.
Billy.
That's right. That's right.
But that would never work. It would never work. I know it's the Fallout world. I know it's the Fallout world. I'm just
I know. Our critical minds
Ixnay
don't
on the
wanna-
Urkway, Raven. No,
You do
would
have to suspend
suffocate.
disbelief. Yeah,
We all saw the Punky Brewster episode. He would suffocate. Anyways.
Actually, you know what?
Okay,
I saw
there's
that
only
fridge.
one
There was
thing
a
I have
great
to
big
say.
fan right behind his head with a big hole in the back of the fridge, which would make it a terrible fridge and not save him from a bomb, but it would
Right.
mean he could breathe.
All right,
Okay.
But
all
the
of
thing
you
that
make-
nails the Billy thing is like, did he not grow to a full size adult while he was in there? Yeah, that was the part where I was just like,
Is
He
it?
wouldn't be able to.
We're going to be in the weeds.
Can children ghoulify, and if so, did they grow?
That's what I always assumed, that yes, they could ghoulify, and no, they could not grow.
But we don't see any children ghouls running around.
Or
Or
regenerate,
sure,
you don't
yeah,
have to actually grow. You know, like once you ghoulify, you're just that whatever you were.
Yeah,
Not
maybe.
like you age ghoulify. You never see the ghoul get
But
any
for all
older.
this fridge slander that you guys are bringing up, I mean, you make great points, but at the same
Don't
time,
reality get in the way of my fantasy.
at the same time,
I don't care.
Exactly. We can't let physics and science get in the way of our
Yeah.
good time.
Now
Because
with
we can't have
Fallout,
fun.
junk magic.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, your MacGyver junk magic, not in that world.
as a fan of pro wrestling, I would believe a lot of things that I know aren't really happening.
Yep.
That's right. And that's okay, by the way.
So I'm fine by that.
Right.
Get in the fridge.
One of the pillars, one of the 3 table legs of Fallout is farce.
Yes.
You know, it just is.
Yeah.
And people want to believe it's a lot more serious than it is. They take their favorite factions a lot more seriously than that. And that's fine. Have fun. But don't come into my house and tell me that there's not farce in Fallout. It's all the way back to the first game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in Fallout.
Camp was there from the
ridiculous.
Ridiculous in Fallout. I mean,
So,
if you look at,
you know,
even if you look at I could even sat here and talked about how much different Shady Sands was in that episode than it was
Sure.
in the original game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because there's about 30 years difference. And this is clearly a variant of what we've seen with actual lore backing it and some expanded stories, not retcon, just expanded. Like, okay, these are Brotherhood chapters, but they're ones you haven't seen. We're going to a vault, but it's a vault that was cut from the game.
Mhm.
You know, that sort of thing. We're going to bring up things, but we're not going to tell you exactly where it was, so you can't figure out that, you know, it might have been something else that entirely from another game or from another this or that or the other.
yeah.
I personally enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
there's
the
a sweet
writers are
spot
being
when the
really smart
references
about
are
it.
just close enough
Mm-hmm.
to feel right, but they're just vague enough not to like be technically wrong. That's the sweet spot they're shooting for as they write this series, and they're doing a pretty good job with.
I will say they could have got a few more NCR cosplayers to come in because they have better gear.
Yeah,
In
right.
some cases, I've seen better. Yes.
Yeah.
I think Shady Sands was founded with a GEC, right?
Yeah.
It was.
So all the pre-war nice new-looking buildings, maybe just facades pasted over the top of the buildings that were constructed with the GEC. It's
wanna
been a
give
long
that
time
much credit.
since it was founded up until that point.
And that's the thing. We haven't even seen a GEC in the series, so they can't just introduce that. So they just said, well, we'll just go with a town that ended up spurting up because of this and that and the third, and then it gets wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really need a GEC though. So this is a conversation I've had with a bunch of people, that there are brooms all over the wasteland, yet you never see anybody using them.
Yeah.
What if you just swept the sidewalk and wow, there's actually structure
You know,
here,
you just picked up a feather dust.
Yeah.
Right? Why don't you just dust it off and stop complaining about the damn dust?
Yeah.
All the cleaning supplies. Yep.
Yeah.
Old world blues, Ram. Old world blues.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, exactly. But anyway.
Okay, well, so I guess we can move on to the next segment. So we'll go to Lucy and the Ghoul. We haven't actually talked too much about what they've been up to. So Lucy and the Ghoul have been lured into an old hospital by the screams of a woman in distress. And while rescuing the quote-unquote tunic, as the Ghoul calls her, they find another tunic who's diseased. As well as a bunch of ferocious bark scorpions. Oh my God. Much action ensues, and at the end of the fight, Lucy stimpaks the woman instead of the Ghoul, leaving the Ghoul to go and bring the woman back to her people. And then she encounters some Legion members on the way, and we don't know what happens after that. So, what do you guys think about that whole situation?
Oh my God.
There are some bullet points that I definitely have in my notes for that. First of all,
Okay.
I wanted to give a shout out to Chris Nolan for this little detail that really made me, as a person living in the United States, just giggle a lot. But did you read the hospital sign?
Yeah.
Yes.
Al's Discount
Affordable
Hospital?
Al's Hospital.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just meant that, like,
And then,
in
right,
the
and then
universe-
right next to it, if you saw it in like little print, it was talking about how it had revolutionary technology from West Tech.
Yeah.
Going back to the
Right.
first episode, how West Tech, the pre-war thing,
For the
where
new
West Tech
plague.
had
Yeah.
basically created new skincare lines.
Revolutionary treatment for the new plague was the subtitle
The
on
new
that hospital
plague.
sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
The new plague, which
Which is
with
deep lore.
Yeah.
So congratulations to
That's
them.
some
Is that
OG
what the
Fallout
sick-
games there is what that is.
Is
Yeah,
that
they-
what the
reason
sick
why
guy
they started-
had? The new plague?
Getting FEV in the first place was trying to
Yeah.
cure for the new plague.
It was supposed to be a cure for the new plague, and then it turned into something else.
Yeah, West Tech was at the planning table with Vault Tech and Robco and everybody in season 1. They had a seat at that table of what to
Right.
do with experimental vaults. They're big players. They might have engineered FEV. That's one of the theories out there. They might have been the one to make it in the first place. But when the new plague hit, they were, the government gave them a ton of money to cure it. Which may have just been giving them money to cure the thing that they developed in the first place.
Exactly.
I do love that the series is bringing all that in there with like a billboard for a couple seconds or their name on a plaque at the table, with Vault Tech. It's enough for the rest of us to know that this is the world we know. This is
They're
the
very
world that West Tech
conscious
fits
of the
into.
details. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
their universe. They're familiar with it. So
Right.
I like how the little reveals that they add in, things that most people didn't miss. Like also, like, I don't think that there was the disease of the tunics. I think that they had been attacked by the bark scorpions. Because if you see
Poison.
Poison. You see the ghoul take a bit of the one guy and swallow it,
the
and then
one
he's
guy
like,
and then he spits it out, and he turns
spits
him
it out.
over, and you see the puncture
You
mark,
see the
and
where
like
he's
the venom
suffering.
poison spot on his back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, like, right as you see it, he kind of stands up after he hears the noise, and you see his belt buckle's got the scorpion on it.
Yeah.
And then I went,
Oh, I didn't notice
It was like,
that.
oh,
I didn't
Yeah.
notice that either.
no, I did too.
No,
I was like, oh, suck it now.
It was right dead center, and I went,
Yep.
"Oh my god, here
Yeah.
we go!"
Yeah,
Strap it on,
Ram
Grandma.
and I had that same moment of base.
Shit's about to hit the fan.
Yes,
Right?
I was like, and they're an enclosed area. This is going to be combat with environment going
Yeah,
on.
this
I
is
want
gonna
to.
be
I'm ready.
insane.
I'm ready to see Jackie Chan just go buck wild in this scene. I want to know how they're going to use the environment to affect their combat. In an enclosed space like that, like there's so many factors that
Mhm.
goes into even just shooting a fake combat scene.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just like, wow. And then the strength that the Scorpion had was off the charts. Being able
Yeah.
to puncture through an aluminum table
Yeah.
casually. I'm just like, oh, the ghoul is
The way
in for a
it
really
busted
bad
in
time.
and just ate the bark scorpion was
Yeah.
flat.
Cannibal versus cannibal.
And it was
Yeah.
that rad scorpion was so awesome looking and detailed, but at the same
You cheat at what? You ain't got no alibi, you ugly.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was a very
certainly
New
ugly.
Vegas styled rad scorpion.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that was pitch
Half off
perfect.
lobotomies, guys. There was a sign hanging up in the
Half
foyer
off.
before they went downstairs.
Really.
And it was like an end cap sign for a promotion at King Supers or whatever at Walmart.
Wait,
Half off
lobotomies.
lobotomies.
wait, you guys didn't take that off, or wait, what was I saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
kind
also-
of a lobotomite snot, I guess.
I saw a also an Easter egg. I don't know if other people, but I certainly got the vibe of it because I like to see patterns and things. But did you see the homage to the scene from Aliens with the bark scorpion that was covering Lucy's face?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
kind of
Well, it had a
Yeah.
face
kind
covering
of
look
flying
to
through
it.
the air.
Face
Then
hugger.
like,
Yeah.
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 No,
I got
definitely-
really strong face
Coming through the
vibes.
ducts
We're huge
too.
Predator fans.
We're
so-
huge Alien Predator fan,
Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
so. That's
Oh, me
so
too.
giving Aliens movie flashbacks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, ew, get off.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
scene was really well done. And anybody who's been in the games knows going into a hospital, it's never going to be pretty. Like,
No.
Oh,
no
no,
hospital
not
you
at all.
enter that's going to be some like walk in the park. So,
In
yeah.
the horror genre, I
Yeah.
dread walking
Yeah.
into
And
hospitals because I know this is where they keep dead people.
This is where the
Right.
most effed up stuff is about to
Mhm.
happen. Yeah.
Right, like there's
Yeah.
got to be something popping off here. This is where they keep the dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
Mhm.
first giveaway. At least, well, maybe if you're playing Resident Evil, but still, it applies in other places. And as soon as I saw the woman in the tunic, I thought Legion. But then when I saw the guy in it, it threw me off for a second. I was like, wait, are they supposed to be like Children of Adam? Like, why is that dude? Because if he
I
was
wondered a
Legion,
little.
why is he not rocking the football gear and the Hail Caesar outfit? I don't
Maybe he was
understand.
disguising
He
himself.
could have had an infirmity. Like, there's a lot of ways to explain that in
Yeah,
little ways.
there
But
were
when I first saw him,
male
I thought it was
slaves, too.
Markiplier. I was like, oh, he's doing cameos now. But then I actually went and I looked into. I was like, okay, I got to know this for sure, because they only show his face for a second, and it turns out that a lot of the extras in this show are people that have been in other like the night that Maximus fights was.
Oh
in
yeah, he was in
World.
like Logan and a few
Yeah.
other movies.
And Brian Thompson was the elder scribe from Coronado, who's like a big cult actor from like the 80s.
Yeah.
And I saw him and I was like, oh my God, Stallone Cobra all over again. China.
Right.
All of it. Like, oh my God.
I love that.
He was a good 80s bad guy for sure.
I
Yeah,
swear,
he really did.
If I go 2 steps from you, I can pull out Stallone Cobra on VHS.
How noobed out is Lucy and the Ghoul for only bringing one stim pack between the two of them?
Yeah, that was. I think that's a.
They only had one left.
Didn't they just grab a bunch of supplies from the cons in Nova?
Apparently not.
Well, the
Apparently
Ghoul has the
not.
cannibal.
No, they're
stick. He's
not.
fine.
Why would the
He's
cons
fine.
waste skin packs and not pack them
even
with
if, even if
cans?
the Ghoul got hurt, we already saw him use the fusion core. Just kind of be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
He doesn't need merit dots. He just needs a fusion core. That's all he needs.
Yeah, and the hospital, like, remember House said you don't see the Brotherhood breaking into hospitals and stealing auto docs. Well, I guess they're all there waiting to be used,
Right.
So the Ghoul could have figured his own way out. One last thing I wanted to pick out, and it's a really very minor detail that I saw, was Lucy's gun. I really wanted her weapon to be like a radiation rifle or something like that, and it looked very, very similar to that. So I looked it up, and it's actually the Ruger AC-556F, which was a gun that you loot from a bad guy in Fallout Tactics.
Interesting.
And I was just like, huh.
Sadly, Ram, I could have told you that already.
Oh,
Did you knew that?
As much of a Fallout guy as I am, I'm a
Google.
gun guy too. I could have told you that.
Oh, same. I love analyzing that stuff.
Okay, so my question about Lucy and the Ghoul in that fight scene is the episode's called The Golden Rule. This is where it comes up explicitly. Like, it's the only time anybody brings it up by name. It's when the Ghoul looks at her and says, "Golden Rule, mother effer," and it's because he's saying, like, walk the walk, do as you say. Say you're gonna abide by the golden rule, then you would want to be stim packed. If you were me, you should stim pack me. You would, to be saved by me, you should save me.
Yeah.
And she just walks away. It's out of spite, and it's part of the problem is, like you were saying,
it's like even when she gets called on her own shit, she's like, no, I'm not going to do it because I can't do it.
She's also, the actors had pointed out that Lucy is still upset about the finger thing. The way the Ghoul cut off her finger. She's still mad about that.
Thank you, Ram. Because
she's still mad about that.
One note that I made, and it was just like a thing that I wrote down. I was like, wow, Lucy really hates the Ghoul right now. Like, her animosity towards the Ghoul in this episode kind of surprised me. I was like,
well, look at the cruelty that has happened. Not just that he's personally caused, but the cruelty that's in his wake. Remember the scene with Wiltzik in Philly? Sure. Where, like, he had to literally get, like, this garbage prosthesis run up his leg, which Lucy had to carry him through their travels. Like, if anybody is aware of what the Ghoul is capable of, Lucy has seen it all the way down, and it's disgusted by it. But here's where, oh, Lucy, you sweet vault child. She says, I wrote this down very specifically, you will have time to think about the consequences of your actions.
Right.
She says that.
And her coming out.
And then the next scene she's in, she says, "You're awfully nice for a profligate." And I went, "Oh, damn.
Oh boy.
Karma? Did you just invoke karma? Lucy, it's coming for you too, girl.
You reap
It's
what you
coming for
sow.
too."
What you sow.
She's
Lucy,
about to have a
more or
really
less.
bad time.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think that's what
Mhm.
Golden Rule Mother Effer from the Ghoul was all about. It
Yep.
was
Yep.
Yeah.
And
the
not only that,
Ghoul
but she got the
reminding
girl.
her
Let's be honest, that
that
girl's dead.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
girl's dead. The one she brought home is probably going to be dead.
Yeah.
They don't
Mhm.
use stim packs. They
No.
use,
Healing
so
powder. and all that
healing
stuff.
powder and that kind of stuff. They're not
Bitter
into
journey.
that. So she probably got her killed just from saving her life with the stim pack.
Yeah, they're going to torture her and ask her what she knows. Where has she been?
Well, they're
You know,
going to wonder why her
where did you
legs
find this
aren't
person?
broken like they were
I
before.
suppose so. Yeah, she asked for medicine, not stim packs. you know,
Exactly.
when they came
Exactly. She said we need
Mhm.
medicine, not
Mhm.
stim
Yeah.
packs.
Yeah.
They hobbled her on purpose. That's what they do to all their slaves.
Oh,
And
did
when she's
that
no
not-
longer hobbled, they're going to know that she used profligate drugs.
Well,
Thank you.
here's something that kind of reframes that first scene. Then were they dumped in that hospital and sacrificed to the scorpions for
Or like
whatever
bait?
reason, or were
Could
they
be.
just gathering?
Runaways?
You know, she's not afraid to
I
go
thought
back.
runaways, but they could have been dumped there.
Yep.
That would explain why the guy was.
She'd be more afraid to go back if they were runaways.
True.
Well,
no, that's
but
true.
now she's got a bargaining chip. She's got this vault dweller with her.
I guess.
She
I don't
could
know.
probably,
When
in her
Lucy
ignorant
encounters
state of
those
mind.
guys, she's by herself. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That gal disappears pretty much right
She's-
away.
Deuces.
Yeah, she's pretty much out. I don't think it was a bargaining chip. I think maybe Lucy's a distraction, but she's not a bargaining chip. You know, I
she
think-
might have been sent on a scavenging
That's
run
valid.
too. You know,
I think that something just went wrong.
Something
It
went wrong,
wasn't
yeah.
anybody's fault.
there
yeah.
could have been some Legion soldiers that were escorting them on this scavenging run who died already to the scorpions.
Yeah,
we just
right.
didn't see it. It was off screen. Who knows?
Something.
Right.
But it's a good
Right.
point. You know, she
It
wouldn't
is.
have gone back so willingly if she was a runaway. That's a great point. So
Exactly.
I just think the fact that she's no longer hobbled is going to be bad for her.
Yeah.
It should be bad for her anyway if they're sticking to that.
I mean,
We'll see how
even if
much
they
they
do it
stick to
again in front of Lucy, her reaction could possibly get her killed.
Well,
I did
She-
notice
she-
that the girl's gait was a little off. And if you look at the same, because they represent them in New Vegas well, where they're like carrying the big heavy packs and they walk very ungainly because so that they can't run off with the supplies and whatnot. Like I was looking very specifically for that walk, and she did have it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe she needed a doctor's bag.
Possible.
Probably.
Maybe
possible.
Stockholm syndrome.
Could
Well,
be.
I mean, I'm assuming everybody in the Legion has that. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you
That's
would.
fair.
You just would.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
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 She had a great line for Lucy that we probably shouldn't repeat in the podcast, but it really shows you the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
peril that
You know.
Lucy is in, that she has no idea. And I think that's the
Yeah.
ghoul at the end. You know, when he says, oh, you know, when she says, you know, you're gonna stay here and think about what you've done, and he's like, golden rule, motherfucker.
Mhm.
You know, that is not a place that she wants to wander into. And her whole thing at the end with, just so you guys know, I'm nice.
Yeah. We'll
Couldn't
see how that goes.
possibly be more counterpointed by
She
the action
Yeah.
she's
failed
in
her
the middle of.
speech check, in my opinion.
That's the problem.
She finally failed it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Okay.
been failing some speech checks, but yeah, exactly. She's
Oh,
this
absolutely.
is the first encounter where we are fully going to see an entire culture. If she mentioned cultural differences, she doesn't even know the half of it. She's going to finally meet an entire culture that perceives any niceness as the opposite of what you should be, like as
Mhm.
weakness,
As
as
weakness,
an anathema
exactly.
to what they're about. They'll punish her for being nice. She doesn't even know that yet. Like not
Yeah.
like directly for being
Yeah.
nice, not indirectly as some consequence of being too nice or something, but like
yeah, no,
yeah,
just
they're about
because
to-
of
they're about to come at her
Yeah.
so hard, and all of her vault values are going to be such a liability.
and
Very soon.
I did find it truly funny that they basically explained the Legion are dressing this way because they found a costume store after Cooper Howard put out a movie called the
Brutus's Revenge.
Brutus's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revenge.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
In the
It-
end credits,
totally-
camera backing out.
It totally felt like a little inside joke based off of like the bounty hunter creation.
There was another inside joke in there
if
too.
if you play Fallout 4 with creations, they have the bounty hunter. And the bounty hunters all say it like, oh, well, one day we popped by a Halloween costume store. We found this costume from some guy that did a movie pre-war. We all started wearing it. And it's Cooper's outfit from his Western movies. So I thought it was funny that they took that and kind of spun it off to put it into the series. Or vice versa. Like, you know, they kind of both came at the
It happened with the Kings too. Like they saw like
that's what I mean. It was like King syndrome.
Started a whole cult around like this guy was awesome. We want to be awesome.
Yeah, they walk into a school of Elvis impersonators and they're like, "Oh, this stuff's kind of cool." They're playing
must be
like this guy wasn't half bad, so they all start dressing like him, putting on wigs if they have to, doing whatever. And
I like how Elvis exists in both universes. Like so many things don't, and somehow Elvis is in their universe and ours.
Elvis transcends.
Well, you know, I mean, if we want to be honest, we're all saying Caesar and it's Kaiser. So
yeah, that's true too. You know,
but speaking of both worlds, when they did back away from the costume shop and they were panning out across the arena and all that stuff, there was the banner that said "Go Wasps." You know, like I guess they could be talking about Cazadors, but actually it's the Wasps from that show that the actress who plays Lucy was in.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, what was that called? How come I'm blanking?
Oh God.
I'm not really super familiar with her.
It's the show she's famous for.
Yeah, it's where they crash. It's like a soccer team and they crash.
Yeah, girls soccer team crashes in the woods and it's some messed up supernatural sort of a thing. And
I can't remember what it's
called. And
I remember the show.
Yellow Jackets.
Thank you.
Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the team was called the Wasps, right?
Yellow Jackets.
I didn't know.
Were they called the Yellow Jackets? Oh, okay. I still felt like Go Wasps was a
probably a nod.
Other series,
Yeah. I only remember her from
Yellow
a
Coliseum
film that she was in. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Was she?
I think so. I know Tarantino has talked about her saying that like when she was a less experienced actress, that she had some qualities that Tarantino saw in her and was like, I want her in my film. You know,
I'm not sure of that, but I'm with Bubbles on this one. When they started showing the stadium that the Legion where it had their base in, it so looked like the Coliseum.
It looked like the Boneyard. But I'm not saying it is, because that would imply that they made it across the Colorado River in some quantity and formed a base camp there.
Right.
We don't know that for sure.
I mean, the Ghoul does say, "Aren't you guys a little far west?"
Yeah.
But it would be ultimately fitting if the Legion settled in the Coliseum.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing with the end credits that they show, the animated end credits that they show in this show. They're not always representative of what that place is like right now. We saw this at the end of season 1 when they were showing New Vegas, the Strip, the crashed Vertibird, the Deathclaw body. I think all of that is coming at the end of this season.
Right.
Those events are coming at the end of this season.
Right, exactly.
And it may be that eventually the Legion does arrive and form a base camp in the Coliseum, in the Boneyard.
It would make them a threat again for sure.
It could just be Bethesda trolling, because even if you go back to the credits from the first episode, there were shots of Prim with like NCR flags and everything. People went, "Oh, Sergeant McGee took over." Well, like maybe, but you don't know. It was just a blip at the end of the credits. They could just be trolling you.
They just want to keep you watching.
They could.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's
I'm glad they're at least good at it. They're good at trolling us. I appreciate that. They put a lot of thought into the trolling. I like that.
You're a good troll, you.
Yeah.
The Paladin Harkness thing is a terrific example of that. It could just be it's not an uncommon last name.
Because Bethesda
but it's a name that if anybody played
legacy
that game,
before,
they know.
Yeah.
So GP, you said you went and you listened and watched a couple of other episode 2.
I did.
So is that the popular opinion that this Paladin Harkness or Knight Harkness or whatever is indeed Xander Harkness from Fallout 3?
Nobody's got anything more to go on than the name, just like we do. Like the name
Harkness
is really the limb everyone's climbing out on when they say he might be a synth. It's just really tempting to do it because it just feels like, why would they pick that name? Like they have they have an entire book of names, you know, flip through the white pages, pick a different name, you know, like they could have picked any name, they picked that one.
I mean, it could obviously be a troll, just like the NCR, the NCR stuff in Prim, but it really feels like they picked that name for a reason.
Right. I think so too.
That's all anybody's got, really.
There's some stuff that they could do. They could do a lot of fill in, especially when it comes to, because you can't talk about Harkness without the quest associated with Zimmer, who's from the Commonwealth. And there is a 10-year space of nothing. And when you go to the Institute, it says they list Zimmer as amongst their people, but he is marked as away.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
When you ask AO,
acting director of
with a lot.
When you
the
ask
current acting director will talk about Zimmer to you as the player if you ask him about why are you the acting director of said retention.
I was just about to bring that up. Justin AO will actually talk about Zimmer if you ask him why are you the acting director.
I'm the acting
he's
director
out getting
why
high
he's
priority
away.
target somewhere. So he would have survived the destruction of the Institute, you know, like he'd be one of those Institute remnants that would still be out there.
Doesn't always have to be that person either. Like if we know that there's another person in the Institute that has the know-how of how to survive in the wasteland, it's Dr. Madison Lee.
True.
She came
and she would have survived it if the Brotherhood canon ending is the canon. If the Brotherhood is the canon ending, Lee's with them at this point. So
you know, she could be taken back, or maybe she escaped the blast. Maybe she saw it coming. She knows what the Brotherhood is capable of. She could have bailed at the end, right? And maybe they ran into Zimmer post. I mean, he is kind of old. But like, what happens if Dr. Madison Lee gets a hold of Harkness and goes, the Commonwealth is no more. These are the people to blame. You know, how do you feel about that? Or reprogram? Like, there's a
so
large.
It could just be Harkness from the scenario when you don't turn him over to Zimmer.
Right.
Yeah. Or he just joins the Brotherhood and he just becomes a knight and he is working as a person in the Brotherhood. And he hasn't been found out.
Because honestly, how far is Project Purity in Fallout 3 from the ship?
Well, again, the ship comes directly from there. They stole the reactor from Rivet City, where Harkness is stationed. That's how it's out there. That's the same Brotherhood.
Yeah, so. And the Citadel and the ship are like, I don't know, 3 feet apart practically.
Yeah, exactly. They're in such close proximity that eventually, if Harkness were to say get tired of working for Rivet City, or if Rivet City would somehow cease to exist, he could just walk down the street and say, "Hey guys, are you hired?"
Yeah. That's where my theory was going. Is that Harkness, once Rivet City has been pretty much deactivated, Harkness is a security chief of nothing.
Yeah.
So he goes and he joins, and I think it's described that he has a high combat acuity, which would kind of put him in the coarser category if he was a synth.
He was.
Yeah. So
like an early version of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But follow this further. And obviously I'm pulling this out of my ass. So let's just say Harkness does maintain a level of agency, connects with the railroad, learns the events of the Commonwealth from the railroad, and goes, I want to know more about me and where I come from and about this faction that I may have aligned with. It would put him in a really strong position to rise through the ranks as obviously a synth can have so many more superior attributes than a human, rising to the top, and then somehow through hook or by crook, getting his hands on Maxon's battle code.
Well, or a code similar to it. I don't think that. I honestly, my gut tells me he's not actually from the Commonwealth Brotherhood.
Yeah, my gut tells me that. I think
he shows up all by himself. He flies his own vertibird. There's no gunner. Right. There's no pilot.
There was a pilot. I saw the pilot. Yeah, I was hitting the pause button every 3 seconds in that scene because Dom said he thought he saw Brotherhood.
I was more
Minuteman
on
flag.
the blue Brotherhood flag that was fluttering when he pulled in, because when it ended,
I was tracking
it looked like there was a Minuteman logo right in the middle of it. And I was
does.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I clicked in on it,
but I get why it looked like a
Minuteman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
I
bad
thought it looked
TV,
like he was
so to me, it
piloting
just
and then
looked
he
like
jumped out.
rifles and the thing, and I was like, "Oh, it's a Minuteman
But
logo. It's gotta be." Why
through
would
that,
it
I
be?
saw like there was an actual pilot. It looked like a dummy pilot because I'm pretty sure that was some kind of digital effect that they brought it in. So it
The
didn't show him
pilots
like
are
breathing or
synth too.
moving or anything.
Yeah, sure.
But that's a possibility. I mean, this whole thing could be a farce invented by Harkness, maybe to get some sort of inside revenge. And you look, his face was very savvy and expressive, you know,
Which is not like Rivet City Harkness, if we're honest. That guy had no
not at all.
personality.
he was,
No,
but a lot's changed, you know. So
not only that, but he was looking for a face doctor. That was why you started
That's
tracking him
true.
down. I mean, this is fucking Fallout, you guys. Like, he doesn't look like
That's
the guy
true.
from the game. Is like, who gives
No,
a
no,
shit?
actually-
There's dudes in
No,
Diamond
it wasn't
City
the
that'll give
physical
you that.
resemblance. I just
You
mean
can
that
not
this
only
guy
you
had
can go to the
personality.
In the game was trying to
Yeah.
find somebody to change his appearance
Yeah.
so that he could stay away from the Institute, more or less.
But he
Yeah,
also
yeah.
had no sense
So
of
why
humor,
would he do it
which
again if
you
he
can
already
give him a new
did?
face, but you can't make him know how to use it. Like he had the game.
You
the
can't
game
make him
Harkness
know.
had, like,
Well,
was
you know,
so dead.
a lot of time has passed from Rivet City to when we see now. He could have learned. He could have adapted. You
of
know,
course.
He could have, but also like
his
in an early version of
motherboard is a
thing.
learning computer. He's just growing every day.
Well, consider this. Let's just say he finds the face doctor, right? And then they go and they start going inside of his facial structure, and then blam, Terminator face. You know, did that play into that idea at all?
That's
Or
not how
is it one of
sense
those
works.
things that we
Face
can?
doctor,
That's not how sense work anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They're-
if he
they're
wasn't
flesh and
Gen
bone all the way
3,
down.
he would have been
All the
flesh
way
and
down.
bone
Really?
with-
All the way
That's
down.
true. That is true.
Where's
there
the
are
component
NPCs that
connect?
do autopsies and say it's
Supposedly in
only
the head.
in the brain that you
Yeah,
can
in
tell.
the head.
Yeah. But it's surrounded by brain tissue and real skull and real
Right.
muscles and
But
tendons.
there has
in
to
the
be
brain
an
tissue.
interface piece,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's connected in the head. That's
Okay.
the canon explanation for the synth component.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we
No.
haven't talked about what Hank was up to at all. Like we haven't even touched.
I
on
figured
Hank
that
and
would be
Voltec
its
doing his-
own conversation.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about Hank or Norm yet, so
no.
Yeah,
should
Norm
probably
is one I got a
shut that
lot of notes for.
Okay, well, let's we'll rewind a little bit and we'll talk about Hank and his hand washing. I thought that was kind of like a brilliant little piece of cinema when
Yep.
after the
There are
bomb
bits of that
goes,
all over the show. You'll see
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was very cool to like you don't even see his face at all in that scene except for at the first in the mirror there. You see him wash his hands and then he just puts down the Pip-Boy and walks away and continues on with his day like nothing
yeah,
was
like
wrong.
reading
and-
Lucy
Okie
and Norman's
dokie.
story.
yeah,
Isn't that what
yeah,
he says?
okie dokie, exactly.
I'm
exactly.
sorry, but I think between that scene and then what we see him doing at Vault-Tec just reiterates my prediction theory that Hank is an enclave plant in Vault-Tec,
Well, he's a psychopath,
which
no
is
matter what he
perfectly
is.
Yeah.
enclave.
Mhm.
He's
Very,
so
very
calm
established
about
that
his
he's
macabre
so
little
disconnected.
routine. Yeah,
It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
screams enclave.
Mhm.
Yep. I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
right.
It
There's
screams
so many
Enclave or
tinfoil hats we
Vault-Tec
could
to
put
me.
on
Either
about
one.
that.
They're the same
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
And there
Yeah,
could be
similar.
factions and schisms within these corporations easily.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we haven't touched
Yeah,
on
we
who we
talked
think
about
he
that
was
last
talking to on the phone that about proving
Mhm.
himself and all that stuff about, you know, whoever's old stomping grounds were Vegas that he was talking to on the phone. Like we haven't even
I
we
do
haven't even gotten
remember
into that.
the thing that jumped into my head yesterday after seeing it in episode 2 again, rewatching was that building, that Vault-Tec building that they keep showing was in these. They were these little like teaser videos that Bethesda and Amazon put out that were called Welcome Home.
animations. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
ones-
like animated, kind of like the beginnings of Fallout 4 with
Yeah.
the little city blowing up and that type of stuff. And the building is actually in it. And they were shot and they were talking about like sort of a supercomputer that we've seen throughout Fallout, whether it be 76 or back in 3 with President Eaton or almost every game. And I almost wondered if somehow some way he was reaching out to like that sort of supercomputer.
Maybe.
I mean, we've seen supercomputers like who was it? Eden.
Modus.
Modus.
Eden.
You know?
Does
Exactly.
Modus have a stopping ground though? It's a weird
Motus
way to refer
appears to
something
be very
someone who's
local
not
to the
a
White
human.
Spring.
Yeah, I agree that whole your old stomping grounds.
Your
didn't
old
sound like he
stomping
was
ground.
talking to tech. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he was talking to a computer to me, but there may be something to that. I don't know. Maybe
And
it's intentional misdirection.
I can't quite remember exactly, but I could have swore the Enclave had a supercomputer in San Francisco.
You know, it would really be funny if he was talking to Yes Man.
That would be
Well, he's not.
I'm in
He's
your
not,
old stomping grounds. You
House
want
is
to help
still
me
around.
screw your boss again?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Here's why we
Yes
know
Man
he's
would have
not
been there
talking
in
to us.
8 tenths of a second because he has no other function. Like if he would have said, "Get over here, I need you to help me screw your old boss." Yes Man would have
We
showed
know
up.
he's not talking to Yes Man because
No,
House
I
is still
just think
around,
it's
so that's
funny.
not the ending. And we saw, remember in the end credits, we saw Virgil. You know, like for a minute, there was a Securitron with Virgil's face on it for a second there in the end credits. That was interesting. But
Virgil, or
Yes
do you
Man's
mean
face.
Victor?
I meant Victor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was
sorry.
really
Fallout
confused
4
there
got
for
in
a
there.
second.
My bad.
Yeah, I was like,
you
wait a minute.
messed me up there.
No,
for a
I
second,
meant
but it's
Victor,
Victor.
yeah.
He's right. You saw the
How far was
cowboy with
Deep
the
MT
cigarette.
from Vegas?
The big empty.
Big MT. Yeah.
I don't know. You teleport there, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's in some mountain range pretty far removed, right?
Yeah, Black Mountain.
Yeah, just something about that old stomping grounds thing kind of made me think about.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if it was the original Old World Blues robots, like the
You know they're going to bring that back. They did it in Far Harbor.
They did.
They're gonna bring that back. They're gonna be like, you know, who hasn't seen all of this? Television media fans. You know, they're like, because it's like I said, Bethesda's really strong about using up legacy content.
Yeah.
Wait, there was a big MT reference in Far Harbor?
No. The robots, the robot murder that played out in the hotel.
Yeah, remember the robot vault?
Yeah, that was an XP of
Detective.
the robots, and
and you may or
The
may not
Robo-Brains.
sex up one of the robots depending on your charisma and choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was another reference in the Brotherhood thing.
Yeah,
So,
it was a squire, and he was well within his right.
It was one squire, and he was well within
his right.
right.
He was so defensive when he said it,
find
too.
like a Fisto? What happened there? Is that what happened? Like,
If you get something to calibrated servos, is that what
That's
happened?
why I always roll my eyes when the ones that are like, I don't like when Bethesda, they ruin Fallout. It's the old games that I like, and it's like they were farces too. They were filled with these references. You could literally become of the world's greatest porn star in Fallout 2. And if you think that New Vegas was a serious game with serious themes and serious factions, explain Fisto. Shut
And the old lady, and the old lady that would attack you as soon as you walked out the door.
Yeah, totally done.
The old prudes that would attack you with the frickin' rolling pins as soon as you came out the door. Yeah, real serious game.
Yeah, exactly.
Traumatized by
really.
that for so long.
I wish I still had the Michael Jordan clip. Just stop it. Get some help.
Yeah.
Ghoul Dominatrix. Remember the cowboy you recruit for the Atomic
Yes,
Wrangler?
the Ghoul Dominatrix.
Yeah.
What's her?
Beatrix or something.
Beatrix. Thank you. Yes,
she was amazing. Yeah,
she was.
And that guy that
loved
wants
her
to
as a
give,
character.
and that guy that wants to give you the discount at Mick and Ralph's, and it's complete bullshit. But if you recruit him, he ends up in hot pants at the freaking Atomic Wrangler. Yeah, real serious game we got going on here, guys. Like,
Well, that's the beautiful thing about farce, right? Is you have this combination of this serious, gritty wasteland, and then you have just out of nowhere, that was a squire, and it was one time, and he was well within his rights. It's like
ridiculously comedic moment to break up
Yes.
the tragedy and the monotony of just like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
we feel like we need a laugh right now. Here
You
you
can't have the oppressive grit on you 24/7.
Exactly.
That's why we all love
Exactly.
the chicken
And
guy
it's
so much in
exhausting.
the series, right? I mean, that chicken guy doctor who gives Thaddeus what is probably like Centaur FEV or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
Yes.
reason he keeps coming back is we love to see him. He's very Fallout. He's very.
he's got his own short thing with Amazon. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
have seen
he
it,
does.
but he's interviewing each of the actors on like a Johnny Carson style show, and he has
boy.
It's a fake talk show.
character,
it's right out of that like 2010s live action
I think I need to see that.
Farce kind of I forget the name of the show. It's
Like
one of
Between
Ron's
the Two
favorite
Ferns?
shows. Not
Between
yeah,
Two Ferns, that one?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of. It's not even supposed to be funny, really, but it's like that level of the unintentional funniness of the absurd.
Satirical.
He comes at like a very Steve Carell kind of angle in that, you
I mean,
know, or the Zach Galifianakis.
For Christ's sake, this series had the holy hand. This episode had the holy hand grenade from Monty.
There was a Monty Python
in the
reference
background
in that,
and that in itself is so Fallout. So regardless of who makes the game, in every game you can be accused of one thing.
Were you watching Spanked Revision?
Yeah, I was. But it was a second monitor.
Or Vegas or whatever. They may not be exactly the same, but at the core of them, they are the same because, like war, Fallout never changes.
Yeah, yeah. And like this episode was pretty. It was a pretty heavy episode. Like it dealt with a lot of like, like most of the scenes were very serious or like very scary and dangerous with scorpions.
Yeah,
but we can't have a Fallout episode without some comedic relief, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what all of Norm's scenes in this episode were all about. It was like just like the absurdity of these clueless Vault-Tec employees who are all thawed out.
Handpicked by Bud himself, how impressionable they were, and how
but
young
they were all like
and
low level, like very moldable, very
interns
malleable.
almost. Yet they somehow knew that Vault-Tec had plans to end the world. That's the thing about Hank that makes me crazy. Is it's implied by Moldaver in the end of last season that he knew that Vault-Tec had plans to end the world. Whether they were beaten to the punch or not is arguable. But he knew that they had plans to do it. And I'm like, he was a fucking intern picking up, Barb Cooper's laundry. Like the interns knew, but the original overseers for most of the vaults across America didn't know. Like, how does that work?
Well,
yeah, but the overseers weren't meant to be included in any loops, right? Like they were part of the experiment for the most part.
That's a good point.
They were part of the experiment. And I'm pretty sure that those interns are treated like every intern. They do all the work for the administrator. Of course they know because they're doing all that guy's action.
And they're observant and they read notes and they overhear
like they said in the episode. Right. One of them was I took notes on a meeting with the guys who installed the ventilation duct. I'll work on that. Like that was what they had to contribute. So.
But when you look at if Hank was an intern and you look at the guys that were released from the vaults, Hank is a totally different beast. Even Bud, who was supposed to be like the head honcho, he never seemed like the smartest guy in the world.
No,
but like the people that were released kind of felt like his people, but he ended up Brad Burton in this series, more or less. And if
I've noticed that the useful idiot trope is being used very symmetrically.
Right.
That trope exists for a reason, Ram.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at AT&T in the 90s, and E and C level management were filled with people that you could have ran circles around in high school and would have got, swirlies every other day. They were not bright people, but they were perfect for their roles. They were the right type of gullible and ambitious at the same time, and I think that Vault-Tec epitomized. Obviously, these guys are like, how do I get back in put me back in the cryo somehow, help me, and it's like, we've got, the dots for you.
We've got merit
cooperate. Merit
dots.
Which were just like shaving band-aids. Is that all?
They were circular band-aids for like shaving.
Gullible and ambitious.
That's the way it seems like everybody else that was put in that vault were gullible and ambitious. Hank might fit half that, but the other half,
I think he could act the part,
and that's what kind of makes me think that
that's the thing about Hank. He knows what he's doing.
That kind of makes me think that A, Hank is Enclave, and B, Hank had a hand in basically Brad Burtoning Bud.
You think
because
so?
even Bud told Norm he was one of my most trusted confidants. So trusting him it left him on top of a Roomba vacuum in a jar, while Hank is blowing around the Vault Tech facility on a golf cart wearing a nice new suit, a gold Pip Boy, just grabbing mice. Whatever he
Access
feels
to
like
Bud would
drinking
have
coffee.
to be paramount for them to set up a scene like that.
Yeah.
You know, being manipulated by Hank makes
I think it's pretty obvious that Hank was at least a double agent, if not a triple agent. He fit
Well,
the
Hank
role
is-
to a T for Bud's Buzz, but that was not his real personality. His
Right.
real
He's not middle management. Look at him perfecting House's technology.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
look at him
clearly got a
miniaturizing
scientist
brain
background.
control into mouse size. Like who can do that on their own? Very few. I mean, Betty back in the vault can't even fix the water chip. And she's supposed to be kind of on the same level as him, but
True.
Which explains Norm, because Norm does the thing that we saw in The Usual Suspects, where he listens and absorbs all of the bullshit from, the whole program about the Superman. And then
he caught the smarts. He's the observant
thinking
one.
about it and tells us a tale with all of those pieces, and they all just fall in line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about his arc is we're seeing that the bureaucracy he detested and all the sloganeering and all the Kool-Aid he didn't want to drink back in Vault 33. Well, guess what? It's all in his like his retinue now. He can just pull that out as part of his repertoire.
He is his father's son too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He truly is.
Son.
Oh no! Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
as it turns out.
If anything, I feel like we brought it up on this episode all the way through with character arcs. If anything, Norm's is going so much faster than Lucy's.
Yeah, kind of.
In a way,
Considering how little
because he has
ground he's
grown
covered
more.
He's
across the
internalized
series
a lot more
than Lucy has by far.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful moment after they did the step out.
Yeah.
Where they were all like, the mall's gone. And they were just, because they all came from the world before.
Yeah.
And he was
so
like,
sandy and
the
dirty.
wind in my
Norm
hair.
says,
This is
Norm says,
beautiful.
This is beautiful.
This is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought
I
that was
got goosebumps when I heard him say that because I was like, ooh.
see, I was like, what? How is he saying this is beautiful when 2 months ago or however much time had passed, he was telling Lucy that he was so cowardly
He's
that he
waking up
couldn't
out
go
of
to
his
the
own
surface.
denial.
Yeah.
He's waking up out of his denial.
Mm-hmm.
He's finally come to grips with the fact that like basically his life was a lie. His father
always
created the
felt
lie,
different.
and he lived throughout it. He was basically had it confirmed by Bud for however long when he was laying around there, and he finally came to grips with it and realized, in essence, Lucy was right to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
when
and
he
he was
finally
ready.
gets out there,
Yeah.
it just that also kind of like him standing there confirms like Lucy was right, and that's why he just kind of looks around, takes a deep breath, and goes, "This is beautiful."
Yeah.
Plus, he also has the strength now to change his narrative. He doesn't have to listen to his father or people in the vault or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we have to acknowledge, like, the whole beginning of the episode was really about how powerful several fathers figures were, right? First one, Maximus's dad in Shady Sands. That's what we open with, and we can see he colors who Maximus is from here on out, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next scene is Hank, the other dad, who we know has definitely, shaped, well, not just events, past and future, but Lucy and who she still is with the ghoul in this episode. And then I guess the third father that gets highlighted immediately on the heels of that is when we get to Quintus and the Brotherhood of Steel, and he calls Maximus my son, and we see how much Maximus wants a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got like dad, and then a dad, and they're all so influential. They're all forming not only the characters we're seeing like as individuals with their influence, but also like the sequence of events that's going down. Even Maximus's dead father's probably the one who kicked off the whole bombing of Shady Sands accidentally by finding the vault's water supply. Like they're all so influential, these dads that come in really heavy at the beginning of the episode. And I wouldn't call the ghoul a father figure, but he is a father. He's another important father in the series. He's looking for his daughter. Like, it's funny how much it focuses on that, but it's not that funny because if you look at, Fallout, what, like 3, you're looking for dad. Fallout 4, you're looking for father, I guess. You know, like you're
lines are
always...
blurred there. You're looking for your father who who happens to be your son, but he's older than you. It just gets weird.
There's something about Fallout lore and the importance and the impact of dad that is just like hard to separate, and we see it real heavy in this episode. It's called the Golden Rule, but I mean, it was the influence of these fathers that stood out to me the most in the episode as we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
It should have been called the patriarchy.
Well, I mean, you're adopting like this patrilineal psychology, you know, and that's something that a lot of particularly male fans in the demographic they're gonna gravitate to that in some way. They're gonna have a feeling about it, whether
why is mom always dead?
Strong hate or strong love. They're on board, you know.
I'm a mama's boy. Why is mom always dead?
Mom always dead? Yeah.
So I guess there's actually a couple of golden rules in this episode. So the real golden rule, which is treat others as you would like to be treated yourself, but we've talked about it a couple of times where like Maximus's dad had said, you want to leave things better than when you found it. Mm-hmm. And that's always a golden rule that I've always lived by. So I'm wondering if that's kind of like, of plays into that whole, I guess they can be kind of like joined together as far as like that one golden rule. So
I think it's one of the firmest threads of his melancholy is that he knows he's dealing with a broken organization and he's trying to do what he can, but also like power dynamics is a huge thing in his arc. And this is something I've got very deep notes on, is the whole like
Maximus, right?
The Maximus in episode or in season 1 versus the Maximus in season 2. You can see him struggling with the power dynamic that he wanted to have. Mm-hmm. And now that he's got it, he's like, oh wow, this comes with a whole lot of other baggage, you know? Yeah, and the one person who sees Maximus for who he truly is Squire Dane.
Yeah.
And that weighs on him. You can see that. This accounts for the what is it called? The conviction that he says when he's interacting with other, but when he's in the thick of doing the mission, he's just 1,000-yard stare. I'm killing ghouls. I'm killing abominations. It's got to be done, and I hate myself for having to do it. Mm-hmm. But I have to also keep up the appearance because Maximus is probably going to come into the knowledge that Quintus is not everything that he seems. And while the armor gave him power, which was why he accepted the duel with the Coronado Knight, he's like, yeah, let me go get my armor. And then he's like, no, we're doing this bareback. And then he's like, uh-oh. You know, because the power armor makes the person, like, you're on a physical stage with a power armor, you are equal to each other. The physical presence doesn't matter anymore after that.
You know, I like your point. In fact, I think maybe what really bothered him about not having power armor wasn't because it's physically the same stage. That guy was big.
He was big.
That. But maybe it's because when Maximus is in power armor, he's not himself. He doesn't have to have a guilty conscience about his actions when he's wearing the power armor.
Like it's the Batman mask.
Exactly. He could kill somebody in a duel in cold blood if he had to, wearing the armor. It's an alter ego. But now here's this very intimate death. You know, this fight of just fists and grunts and stuff is a much more intimate thing that Maximus himself, with no armor to cover him up, is having to do in front of everybody.
It's that traditional superhero scenario. Like you never see Peter Parker fighting the Green Goblin. You never see Tony Stark taking on Thanos. It's Iron Man. You know,
as somebody who's undergone like combat in tournament style, I can tell you that nothing will bring you to what you're really about in the moment where you're dealing with a moment of mortality. Like, this person is going to hurt me. You know, who am I going to become on the other side of this crucible of this physical conflict that could result in my death? You have to reach for something inside yourself in order to see that through.
Right.
And, you know, boxers go through it, kickboxers walk through it, soldiers go through it. Like, who are you on the other side of that?
I can test a part of that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you are not the person leaving the combat as you went in. You're irrevocably changed. whether you internalize it or it's conscious or not, you're coming out of that going, I just mangled another human being.
Yeah.
And then everything from there on in is just like, I think Maximus is really coming into the idea that the power that he wanted so badly is also going to weigh on him like a concrete block that he's going to carry.
Right.
He's going to do what he thinks is important, which is why I think that he would actually make a good leader of the Brotherhood, because he's not a leader. You know,
he doesn't want it for its own sake.
He doesn't want it for that reason anymore. Now that he understands what power has, now he's seeing the faults that power creates. You know, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I had jotted down, like, just watching, you know, Maximus go through that and you know, have that. You're right. Like, this was what he wanted, but he is kind of like the antithesis of the old adage, be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it playing out on him. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but at some point, I think he's just going to realize that, like, whatever this is doing to him is too much for him to keep it up. Like, he's got to get away from.
Oh, sure, it's exhausting
from these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not worth it just to be able to, you know, rock a big shiny suit and an ugly assault rifle. I can go someplace else. There's got to be something better than this.
Yeah.
I had a thought, actually, when Dane showed so much of their disdain. That's funny. With
who knew Raven was a poet?
I was like, I wonder if they're gonna splinter off and create their own sect of Brotherhood.
I thought that there would be like some sort of maybe a romance between those two.
Between Maximus and Dane?
I thought it might, or maybe a one-sided relationship.
Yeah,
because it's clear that Dane really, really admires him.
Well, respect might not be applicable
He
anymore.
He does kind of look at Maximus the way Kathy looked at me before we started dating. I will say that. He's got those big doe eyes and everything.
Kathy, you have anything to add to that? Come on, Kathy, you've been awfully quiet.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Well, she's going to say that while you're standing here.
Yeah, you know, Dane sees
Kathy
Maximus.
Type, trust me.
Dane sees Maximus as
but
he would be the Brotherhood if the Brotherhood were to, if he were the leader and he were to preserve his best self. Yes, he would be the best thing in the Brotherhood's best chance at something like redemption.
Dane sees the potential there.
But she's the one who recognizes how much this is costing him. You know, like how much of his soul he's given away. And she sees it and he knows it too. And but he tells her the Brotherhood's the best there is. I can just try to make it a little better, like what his dad told him to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what he thinks he's doing. But you know, he's done a lot of bad things in the name
until
of
he meets Harkness.
Also,
and then we see an opportunity that he might branch over and join a different side.
We're gonna have a new mentor, and it's not gonna be Quintus. It's not gonna be that dad.
I think Harkness is gonna be an alternative to.
And I'll throw this on the table. This might be a hot button topic for some people, but clearly I see Dane as a queer coded character.
Sure.
And one of the things that I think makes this, and I'm going to say this very generally, one of the great arcs about Dane is the becoming, and maybe Dane looks to Maximus as a compass. Maybe they're both struggling with the same things, but it's manifesting differently for either one of them. Hence why Dane made the sacrifice of putting the knives in their own boot.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not ready to assume this mantle yet, but I know somebody who really, really wants it. So I'll sacrifice my position for them, and then I can watch and see this person who I admire give me a perspective that I may not be seeing myself.
I mean, to your point, Ram, and it's fine that you brought it up, because anybody that watches me on this channel already knows it or listens to our stuff. I have a gay brother, and when he watched the series, we sat here on Christmas Eve talking about what we had seen, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Dane's totally gay."
Oh, totally. The actress is a transmasculine, I believe.
Like
Well,
he,
yeah, I don't
he
think
brought
Dane
that
is
up too,
anything.
and he and my brother-in-law both said, "Oh yeah, he's gay, definitely gay."
Mhm.
So you're not anywhere near, as far as I know, you're not far off.
Well, I'm
saying
trying to account for what an audience would, especially
Sure.
like Brotherhood fanboys, which are kind of
Yeah,
like.
so I mean,
really
I'm not saying
pro.
I'm not saying I'm like
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the. I'm not saying I'm hot button. I got the pulse on the gay community, but I do have those. I literally just had my brother and my brother-in-law here, and we were talking about the series, and they both went, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dane's gay." Yeah,
Very much so.
But somebody talked about how Dane and Maximus use each other as a compass. I like that because Dane says to Maximus, "We used to quote the Codex to each other as a joke." Like Dane
right.
refers to, we used to be each other's like grounding influence. We used to
Mhm.
remind each other what made sense and what was right and what was stupid, and like we were that for each other. And she brings it back up so that he will be that again. Like he will
Right.
listen to her.
Yeah.
Kind of like
him-
GP
Dane
and I.
doesn't want to be abandoned.
Kind of like GP and I
Right.
do, but in a more hetero way.
Are you saying they're more
Perspective
hetero than
changes
us?
everything.
No, I'm saying we're more hetero than that.
It's cool, but I really do like Dane's character a lot. Dane's character is super valuable because Dane has a lot of just perspective. There's something wise about Dane. Dane sees the writing on the wall, and Dane is like Maximus's Jiminy Cricket right now. And Dane may be replaced at some point. Dane may even take over Quintus's mantle or something if Maximus disappears. We don't know what they intend for Dane's character, but I do really appreciate that Dane is, Dane reflects what we, the audience, are supposed to see happening.
Yeah.
Like when we're supposed to see what Dane sees.
The echo of what we're meant to really see.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if there was no character reflecting that, or no character, that would just feel very lopsided. Like it would just, I think a lot of us would be like, but how can nobody see how evil this all is? So
right.
Or what a bunch of chucklehead these guys are.
What a bunch of Chad douchebags these guys are. Good Lord.
And it would be intolerable, and it wouldn't be as enjoyable for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when they ask what'll they do with all this power, Dane's like, nothing good. And it's because Dane knows where she need them. It is, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I keep saying she. I don't mean to be insensitive. I really don't.
Well, it's not
bad.
specifically outlined, and the actor.
I know.
Really
But they say
anything.
The series says they.
Yeah,
I should say they.
Oh,
and
they
I
do. Okay.
They do. They say they. Quintus says they. They them. So
Yeah,
I need to get on board. I'm sorry for being slow
Bethesda
about getting on the right side of that. My bad.
But Bethesda has that. They definitely try to push something like that, which is the reason why they have a lot of queer coded characters in multiple parts of the games as well.
Well, if we appreciate that Bethesda makes a world that feels kind of
relatable
because they include all kinds of things. Well, why would they, they can't leave that out and have us feel like it's the world we know. So
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've been chatting for about an hour and 40 minutes.
Did we beat last episode?
I think we did. I think we did.
Wait. I got one last thing before we close up. All right.
Yeah.
The Golden Rule. The episode's called that. I think Hank is following the Golden Rule, the original one. Do unto others. I think he's following Maximus's dad's Golden Rule too, of leaving it better than you found it. He says that when he brings the rich dude.
The
didn't buy his family a ticket.
Yes.
He says
that was part of my notes too.
Yeah, he says I'm fixing an outdated piece of technology, but he's not talking about mind control. He says civilization. It hasn't worked out so well. He says I'm going to make it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it right.
Co-op's philosophy twists it to his own.
Yeah,
to his own worldview.
He thinks he's doing what Maximus's dad told him to do. He thinks he's going to leave this better than he found it, and he's willing to make sacrifices for that. It's part of why his conscience is so unbothered. It's why he's so glibly trotting around Vault-Tech's headquarters while he,
Enclave.
No, I think it's because he believes in what he's doing. he believes he's going to make it better than it was. He believes he will.
That was the
deserve
Super Manager
Lucy's-
project, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He believes he's going to deserve Lucy's love, and that he is looking out for
Good
her.
villains
and that family
never-
is the most important.
Yeah, a good villain never believes they're the villain.
Sure.
You know,
Mhm.
they're the hero of their own story.
Yeah.
Right.
The mustache twirling villain is an old trope that hasn't existed since what
No.
Whiplash, Snively, and
Yeah.
Paul Dini or whatever.
I think
you know.
it's I think it's never put better than the Star Wars series. You know, so the Sith are evil from a certain point of view.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. Just not
Yep.
theirs.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
kind of like a mechanist situation where like
Mhm.
they're like
Or-
Hank is
Nice.
doing the things that he believes to be right and good, and well, maybe not good, but
He
right
thinks so in the big
anyway.
picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's all just being misconstrued and
Mhm.
all the layers
shit's
of that
hitting the fan.
universe. Everybody wants to save the world. They just can't agree on how.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he looks
Exactly.
Lucy dead in the face and says, "I did what I had to do to protect our people." And I think he meant it.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
So
I really
what-
think he meant it.
What I found interesting in that scene with the super elite, whatever that was,
Oh, the Premium Elite Plus.
Yeah.
yeah. So when he like talks about family and how like, oh, I see here that you have a whole family. Why did you only buy one spot in the vault or wherever?
Mhm.
And Hank really kind of took offense to that and was like, how dare you?
Family's
Like,
the most important
Well,
thing.
it was
Yeah.
hilarious his way of pointing
Yeah,
out
look
how
what I'm
true it
doing
was
for
that
my-
family's
the
important. He's
love
like,
of
we
my
were very
children."
clear about that in the advertisement.
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
That was his proof.
And then he
Like,
cranks that
obviously it's
dial
important.
up.
We were very clear
Did
about
you read the fine print?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I
Well, I
liked him for
didn't.
that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
liked
That
him
was
for that
all.
moment where he's like, "Did you read the fine print?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I didn't." And
Well,
I'm
I
like,
didn't.
"There you go, Hank. You're following the spirit of what you're supposed to do, not the letter." He's a little more of a free thinker than you might, suspect. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
liked him for that. He has his moments. I don't, bombing Shady Sands is super messed
Well, he's a
up. and there's-
complicated character.
Yeah, there's
He
no
certainly
He's
ridiculous.
supposed to be
Sure,
something
for
that
sure.
we
Yeah.
aspire to.
Well,
He's
there's a
supposed to be
lot
something
of-
that we can find ourselves relating to and then go, oh God, am I relating to that?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
No, there's
A
a lot. There's a
strong-
lot. There's a lot of layers to that onion
A
right
strong
there.
backbone to a villain is, where is that villain made? Like, where do they come from? And what events have taken place in their life to give them the perspective that they have,
Right.
Because essentially humans are just they're acting on their best intentions always, even if the outcome doesn't always work out. They're doing what they feel is right. Nobody does what they feel is wrong for the betterment of humanity. That just philosophically, the mental math in that just doesn't add up.
The math ain't mathin'.
Mm.
So I think that we're definitely gonna see a lot more to Hank. And as an actor, big shout out to all the actors that they pick for these amazing people.
True.
And I'm pretty sure that if an actor-director relationship, there is a form of symbiosis that happens in the space between the camera and the daily story, the sheets that they read every day. You're gonna say a character is gonna behave this way, like that they did it with Negan is a perfect example of that. You get to see what made Negan what Negan was, and then now you're seeing the Negan that evolved from that, and you're gonna see both the good and the bad.
Mhm.
And it's not always going to align with the way people see them from the externally.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anyone else have anything else to add? No?
I think we about covered it.
Pretty good.
I think we've
Yeah.
covered it
I
all.
think we
Okay.
about covered it.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was an hour and 45 minutes of the Council of the Wastes talking about episode 2 of season 2 of Fallout. Yeah, we're gonna probably keep doing this until the season's done. So
I
if
would love
you-
to.
Yeah, if you enjoyed, I'm talking to all the people watching this in the future because this is a recording. And
The people of
Um,
internet.
yeah, so if you enjoyed,
You all are involved too.
yeah, you gotta come and check out all our channels. We'll have, I'm sure Dom's gonna put links.
Oh, there will
up.
be links in the description. I will make sure that everybody's a collaborator, the whole nine. You'll be
Awesome.
able to find this on all Circle of Debate audio podcast platforms as well. So
Nice.
no matter whether you're listening to us after the fact or you're watching us, we appreciate the living hell out of you. And go tell a friend, will you?
Yep, absolutely. Well, I just want to thank all of you guys for taking your time out and sitting down and like just
Thank you for holding this together.
well,
Right?
it's pretty fun when you're talking about things that you love with people that you love talking to. So yeah, this has been awesome. So thank you guys so much.
Oh no, thank you, Raven.
Thank
We're all
you
happy
for all
to
of
be
you.
a part of your flock here. And thank you to everybody that has watched this or will watch, will continue to watch and listen. And thank you especially to these amazing people who I am honored to share the screen or the airwaves with, depending on what you're checking this out on. And enjoy the rest of your week. Have a happy new year. And although, maybe like the old games, maybe you're into 76, that's fine. Maybe you're a New Vegas guy. Maybe you can't stop playing Fallout 4 like me and GP. But when it comes down to it, just enjoy Fallout. If it's not your cup of tea, baby, what should they do?
Let somebody else drink it.
You're damn right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everybody.
Night, guys.
But maybe tomorrow, shit made me feel better. Wherever we change up the weather tomorrow, I'm tired of sorrow. Shit, maybe tomorrow.